All right, good morning, everyone. It's Nick Petro along with Chrissy Cockrell here at the National Weather Service in Raleigh with your Labor Day, Monday, September 2nd, 2019 update regarding Hurricane Dorian, our 11:30 briefing this morning. And you've got two meteorologists here to answer your questions and to provide this briefing. Thank you, Chrissy, for joining this webinar.
You're welcome, anytime.
All right, so Chrissy is one of our newest meteorologists here, so I'm also providing this as an opportunity to do some webinar training. So anyway, very good. Well, thanks for joining us. Of course, this webinar will be recorded and uploaded to YouTube, so you can play that back later, or folks who couldn't join us will have the opportunity. And I'll also be emailing out the slides here as soon as we wrap up. And of course, for those new to these webinars, anytime you have a question, just type that into the question box that you see on the screen, and I'll take those. We'll take those one at a time. All right, so let's just go ahead and jump right into the briefing here. And here's the latest image of, just grabbed this off of our internal system here of Dorian. Obviously, it's a powerful hurricane. Here's the 11 o'clock advisory. And certainly it's a formidable storm. I mean, obviously dire for a lot of folks, and major hurricane as it moves up along the just off the east coast of Florida. You can see on this screen here where there are watches and warnings posted, and obviously it's a big newsmaker, so I'm sure a lot of folks are up to speed on the damage and devastation it's already caused in the Bahamas. As of 11 o'clock, it's been the wind speeds have been adjusted to 155 miles per hour, which puts it just below Category 5. That's very upper end, Category 4. Believe me, there's really no difference between a Category 4 and 5 damage. It's all catastrophic. You really couldn't discern the difference in damage between 155 and, say 160. It's all catastrophic. So unfortunately, that's what's going on right now with its current location. As it relates to Central North Carolina. Now, let me just reiterate here that this is for Central North Carolina impacts, and we've got wind, flooding, rain, and maybe tornado. That's the main three elements we're concerned about at this point in time. Okay, so for wind, we think there's a potential for tropical storm strength wind gusts, which could blow over trees, mainly east of US 1 corridor. So we're talking, the Triangle region, Durham, down toward Pinehurst and down toward Richmond County and points eastward. And the highest winds, even though the winds will start moving in late Wednesday, we think the strongest winds will occur Thursday afternoon and evening. Okay, so certainly if you're longer east of US 1, power outages will be a possibility. The further east you go, the stronger the winds, the more widespread those down trees and power outages will be. All right, flooding, rain. So we expect about 2 to 6 inches of rain to fall across a large portion of central North Carolina, with the highest rainfall amounts east of I-95. 2 to 6 inches of rain right now is not going to result in any kind of major river flooding. Yeah, the rivers will see a rise, but what that will cause is more short-fused issues with localized urban and poor drainage flooding. Obviously, the higher the amounts, the greater the risk for subsequent river flooding would be. But right now, if we're able to keep it below 6 inches of rain across central North Carolina, I think our river systems here in the central part of the state will be okay. I'm not sure, it might be a little worse, obviously, east of central North Carolina, eastern part of the state. Obviously, there'll be higher rainfall amounts, and there may be some issues there. But certainly for the central portion of the state, mainly looking at localized poor drainage urban flooding, and that'll be mainly from Wednesday night through Friday morning. I will point out that some parts of central North Carolina may not see very much, if any, rain at all. The Triad, you might see hardly any rain out of this. So folks in the Triad and folks, as you're heading southwest toward the Charlotte area and the eastern suburbs of Charlotte, our southwest corner, which is Anson and Stanley County, you might see an inch of rain, and that's about it, but it will be breezy even in those locations. So anyway, that's the way things are looking. This is just another way of looking at those threat levels, with wind and rainfall being the greatest threat. I didn't mean to gloss over tornadoes on the last slide, but that is the risk for tornadoes is pretty low, mainly because tornadoes typically occur ahead of and to the right of the track. So if the track, according to the National Hurricane Center, let me back up here, stays right along the immediate coast, then that would mean most of the tornado threat would be to our east. Again, let me see if I can get my drawing tool out here. Bear with me here for just a second. So typically the tornado threat is, ahead of it and to the right side of the hurricane or tropical storm track. So that would mean for us, in terms of the tornado risk, that would be somewhat minimized for us, but we'll see how that evolves. All right. What about time of arrival? The earliest reasonable time of arrival for tropical storm force winds appears to be later on Wednesday. Okay, so by Wednesday evening, we should start to see the winds really starting to increase. So obviously, we want to have preparations completed no later than Wednesday morning. Okay, so the most likely time southern and eastern portions of North Carolina could see tropical storm force winds will be Wednesday night and Thursday. So that's the most likely. Okay, the graphic shows the earliest reasonable, but it's more likely during the evening and night. Okay, so you can see the probabilities increase as you go further east. Rainfall. Christy, do you want to brief the rainfall slide? What are we seeing here on our rainfall slide?
So the dark purple obviously is where the hurricane is currently, and as you move up, this is rainfall amounts decrease. So in our central area, we have about, as Nick said earlier, 2 to 6 inches are expected to fall in our central North Carolina area Wednesday through Thursday. And
with obviously the greatest amounts to the east. So
yeah,
the closer you get to the track, the higher the rainfall amounts will be. So what do you think about the triad? Should the triad see any rain out of this?
Not very likely.
Well, not a lot, but that the white area can be a little misleading. I don't want people to think you're not going to see any rain, but the white area means you could see up to an inch. It's the color coding could use a little adjustment here, but the 1 inch starts at green. So for our friends in the triad in the southwest sections of central North Carolina, this doesn't imply you're going to stay dry. It just means you're going to have less than an inch. Okay. All right, so to break it down day by day, just to kind of give you a sense of preparation in terms of weather for preparation, there'll be a few scattered showers, maybe a thunderstorm, I-95 east today and tomorrow. But this shouldn't deliver a lot of rain. It's just the scattered hit or miss shower and thunderstorm activity. On Wednesday, we'll see those bands start to move northward and impact the eastern and southeastern portion of the state. And then that'll continue into Thursday. Now, looking at the lower left graphic, it shows Thursday and Friday. But I want to point out that most of that rain you see in the lower left graphic will occur on Thursday. By Friday, the storm will be exiting and drying out. And then Saturday and Sunday, just some scattered shower and thunderstorm activity, but not a tremendous amount of rain or a lot going on there. You'll see there that there does appear to be a little bit of a mismatch here between Saturday and Sunday and the 7-day total. We'll get that fixed, but basically you can see where the highest rainfall amounts are expected again. Closer to the center of the track, east of I-95, will have the higher rainfall amounts. Okay? All right, so moving on here. I showed this yesterday, and I want to reiterate that the track, the ultimate track, will determine the specific impacts. I want to point out, of course, what the cone means. Just as a reminder, the cone does not represent the area of impacts. All the cone shows is where the center of the storm may go. It doesn't show where the impacts and hazards may be felt. So within that cone, that's all the possible locations where the center may go. And remember, hazards and impacts can be felt well outside of the cone. Mm-hmm. So I want to point out that if the center of Dorian takes a further offshore along the eastern side of the cone, the hazards will be less for central North Carolina. If the center of Dorian takes a track further inland along the western side of the cone, then that means a greater portion of central North Carolina will see heavier rain, which could lead to more flash flooding and maybe even subsequent river flooding, and then greater wind damage potential. And obviously the center, if the storm track takes the center of the cone, basically the current forecast now, then obviously the impacts will be greatest along the immediate coast. And we will have some obviously hazardous impacts that I've already alluded to, the 2 to 6 inches of rain and some gusty winds. Okay, so that's why we're still keeping track and closely watching the guidance and the models and all the data coming in to see where this exact track is going to go, because we'll have to make some minor adjustments here to the forecast, and that should be expected as the forecast for the track gets tweaked and fine-tuned as we get a little closer. So anyway, that's why we haven't increased our confidence yet, because we're still kind of out in that 4 or 5 day part of the cone, and that track can adjust a little bit. But I do want to point out that these are our key takeaways: potential for tropical storm strength wind gusts late Wednesday through Thursday that could result in some downed trees and power outages. Again, mostly east of the US 1 corridor. And the greatest winds and potential for power outages will be Thursday afternoon and evening. Rainfall, as I mentioned, 2 to 6 inches, and that could result in some localized poor drainage flooding. Highest rain amounts will be east of US 1 late Wednesday through Thursday night. Okay, and as I pointed out, if the forecast track trends further inland, then we could end up with higher rainfall amounts. And then finally, the greater, the better, the higher the risk for tornadoes will be mainly east of central North Carolina, mainly east of I-95, late Wednesday through Thursday, ahead and to the right of the track. So anyway, that's the way things are shaping up right now. Our next email briefing, we'll send these slides out here after we wrap up the webinar, and I will send out a freshened set of slides again later this evening. And then we'll do an additional webinar, same time, same place tomorrow, 11:30 in the morning, same method, same link. And obviously, there's some links there that you can follow for updated information in the meantime. So that concludes the briefing for Central North Carolina for Monday morning at 11:30.